Dear Nigeria, this is Bekeme. You're listening to the Good Citizen Show. I hope you all have had a wonderful week. It's been a scary week for many women across Nigeria, especially in Port Harcourt with the issue that, they've had with the serial killer on the loose. You know how we've always grown up thinking in Nigeria those kinds of things can never happen. That's an Oyibo ailment, So it was really shocking, really shocking to hear that some women had been killed in hotel rooms and all over the place. And, as we talked about it, more women were being killed. That's really scary. And we do hope that the man who was apprehended is the actual perpetrator of the crime. It doesn't take away the fact that women have died, mothers of people, children of people have died. And, my condolences go to family members of the young women who were killed. I do hope that this really has ended. Again, you're listening to the Good Citizen Radio Show. It's produced by CSR in Action and funded by ACT Foundation. ACT Foundation is a grant-making organization established in 2016 to support local, national, and regional non-profits working in health, environment, entrepreneurship, and leadership. And of course, you know why they fund the Good Citizen Radio Show? The Good Citizen Radio Show is focused on leadership. It's focused on active leadership by the everyday Nigerian. We're not waiting for any one person to solve our problems. We know how we can contribute to the solutions, and we're working towards that happening. Speaking of, I just remembered something that happened this week, and actually it was a popular post on WhatsApp, and this man had been complaining, a cab driver had been complaining about flooding and all the issues that we're having. Oh, this government, useless government, that's how roads are blocked, and, our properties are floating everywhere. And as he was lamenting, and his passenger was basically trying to calm him down and saying, you'll get better. You know us now, we're the happiest people in the world. You go better. And this guy just wound down his window and threw out his bottle and scrunched up his pack of biscuits, threw it out, and then wound up. And his passenger was like, what? What did you just do? And he says, what? Nothing then. I can't carry it around with me. And he says, you are actually contributing to the problem. And he argues, no, how can this small plastic bottle and this small biscuit wrapper? It can't be, And then he actually refuses to admit, and he laughs, Nigeria, Onasha, like, how can it be me? So basically, this is what we're trying to address. You can be the problem, but better still, you can be the solution. Today, we're talking about crime control in contemporary Nigeria. Insecurity has been on the rise in Nigeria and in all parts of the world. I did watch a video about children going back to school and for the US, and basically some non-profit organization created this video trying to tell children how to behave now that school has resumed. Basically, it was telling them, school has resumed, that criminals are going to come around, they may shoot, they may try to kill, this is what you need to do, call your loved ones, hide, and all of that. It was really scary. So it's not just Nigeria, it's not just, that doesn't make it great, that doesn't make it better, but, it's not just Nigeria. I don't know, it's like we're breathing a certain kind of air. Maybe climate change is causing our air to change in some way, and people are going crazy. But then, we know that security is a vital tool for national cohesion, peace, and sustainable development, but it hasn't been effective over the years or in recent times. And, being that it's a social prerequisite for the survival of any society, it's something that needs to be addressed. We've had issues with cybercrime, drug and human trafficking, police extortion, Boko Haram in the north, in the Niger Delta. We've had militants and all of that. Now, it is evident that, the government is having a challenge with ridding our society of these criminals. I don't know whether it's a matter of having the will or a matter of focus, or it's just plain politicking. But how do we combat crime in Nigeria? In our teaser video, we talked about a man named Ronald McLean Abu-Roa. He was the first democratically elected mayor of La Paz in Bolivia in over 35 years. This was in 1991. And this guy met the same challenges that we're having in Nigeria, problems with crime and everything, and then worse still, it was a police force that couldn't seem to address this. But, this guy, being a solution finder, he got in touch with consultants who could help. They outlined the solutions. They found out that over 80% of the workforce couldn't do anything, and they were like, you know what, these guys need to go or be trained or be moved elsewhere. And, again, if it's Nigeria, they say, but that's what they've always known. And this was the same situation there. And they were like, this is what they've always known. But, that didn't stop him from doing what he needed to do to rid the society of the widespread corruption. He proposed an extended training period for recruits and an improvement as well in the incentive structure for the security officers. So the incompetent ones, they said, off you go. And guess what? In no time, the security situation changed in La Paz. Now, it is generally believed that any effort made towards poverty alleviation will automatically translate to effort made towards crime prevention and control in society. And obviously, we cannot overemphasize the need to do that. So clearly, Nigeria needs to improve funding for the police force, to incentivize them in some way, to give them decent accommodation, that they have pride in the way that they carry out the job or their jobs. So also, we have to bear in mind that such funds need to be carefully monitored, because we've heard instances of large sums of money being set aside for a certain project and setting unscrupulous people making away with them. Now, to discuss ways in which we can combat crime in Nigeria in particular, we do have a guest in the house. His name is Dr. Yusuf Mamud. He is a program facilitator, a columnist, and a researcher with research interest in countering violent extremism. Dr. Yusuf actually consults for international organizations on issues relating to security, with focus on preventing and countering violent extremism. Some of the organizations he's consulted for include William International Washington, International Institute of Justice Malta, the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, and ECOWAS. So we're talking to somebody who knows what's up about crime. Hello, Dr. Mamud.
Yeah, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you today?
I'm all right.
I hope you've had a great day.
Wonderful.
All right. So we're talking about crime in Nigeria on the Good Citizen Show today. What would you say is the root cause of crime in Nigeria?
That's a very...
Or rising crime in Nigeria.
Rising crime? How am I going to tackle this?
Like, it's many things, right?
There are so many factors.
Mm.
In literature, we talk about the pull and push factors.
Mm.
But I'm going to reduce it to the issue of governance.
Okay.
A lot of people are not satisfied with what is going on in the country. We have a rising population in the country. There's a youth bulge.
There's a what surge?
Youth bulge. There is rising population of youth.
Youth surge, right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not addressing some of these issues. And definitely, you should expect...
But so looking at it, we always look at it from the point of view of a value system of the people, okay? Because it's the people, it's from the pool of people that we have that we get people in leadership, okay? So if we look at it from the governance perspective, for instance, during the course of the week, I went to my favorite pizza store to buy a pizza, and I paid for it, or rather, it was my husband. He paid for it, and that is, he called over the phone. He paid for it, and he got there, and the lady, and he says, "Give me my receipt," because on the board, the back board of the takeaway place, they had written, "Make sure you receive your receipt." So he says, "Let me have my receipt," and she says, "There's no receipt." And he says, but the sign says, I need to get a receipt. And she says, they just put it there. So, and, after insisting, she gives him a receipt for a smaller pizza. Now, it could be that pizza had been bought by somebody else, or it could be that that's what she machined into the system. So she initially lied, our machine is not working, and he insisted, and then she brought this receipt and said, actually the machine is only printing for smaller pizza. So what am I saying? I'm saying that, yes, we like to say that, it's leadership, but are we looking at ourselves as well and saying, okay, what is the problem with us? Or are you saying that because leadership has failed us in terms of provision, because people are not as well-to-do as they would like, they have now resorted to crime, and that's okay?
Yeah, my dear sister, we should also look at the issue, because I started by conceptualizing it by saying that governance is the entire concept, and when you try to dissect it, leadership comes into play. The people are trying to do what they see their leaders doing. What do you expect them to do? A man is driving, he sees a police van, traffic light, and what do you expect him to do?
Right, I see what you mean.
We are talking about the issue of leadership, but I started by saying governance is the entire issue here. And if we do not address the issue of governance, we won't be able to talk about social security, justice, and a whole number of other issues that comes into play here.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. Do you think that we have effective crime control policies in Nigeria?
Effective crime control policy, in order to be a little bit considerate to the government, I would say we do not have effective crime control policy. Otherwise, I would have said zero. But now, we do not have effective crime control policy.
Right.
What is going on at the moment is that government is very reactive. It is only when things have happened, that is when we try to see how we solve the problem. But let me give you a very simple scenario. A crime takes place in point A. Then police comes there, and what traditionally you expect the police to do is to arrest every person they find around there. That's what you find in other climes.
No.
That is not what you expect our Nigerian police to do.
No.
And the only reason why they do that is because we do not have a database to be able to say,
this is this person.
Yes.
Right.
We have a database. Then you identify the point A, and you look at the database and say, between January, Mr. ABCD have been arrested for committing crime within that area. What you're supposed to do is to try and see how you profile your database, identify these people, bring them into police custody, ask them certain questions and all that. From there, you have a leadway. That's what we call crime piecing. You're trying to put together...
Crime what?
You're putting together crime piecing the crime together, putting it
piecing.
Together.
Okay.
Yes. You bring this one, you bring this evidence, you bring this. When you put them together, eventually, it gives you a leeway. It gives you a direction of
right.
Not to breach people's fundamental human rights by coming to arrest everybody within that state.
Are you saying that they don't currently, or we don't currently have a database for this? Because I've been to the prisons, Upper Sunday and Upper Saturday and the one before that, and I saw all sorts of people locked up for no reason.
We have standalone database. Database in you guys are in Lagos, so I'm going to give my example in Abuja. Database in somewhere in Maitama is not connected to the database somewhere in Gwarimpa.
No way.
So we do not have a real-time situation.
Are you for real?
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. If the police are listening to this, it is a very simple solution.
It is.
It is if they start today and create a very simple access.
Wow.
It's a database. Very simple access.
Wow.
Get someone who is a graduate from any university in Nigeria.
I agree. I agree.
Then what you just put in the columns and say name, passport, location, type of crime, and all those kind of things. When you do that, put a scanner. What I've just told you now, you don't need more than 300,000-400,000 naira to.
I agree strongly.
Every police station in Nigeria. When you put this together and start collecting the database of everybody that commits crime every day in Nigeria, what you have in another 6 months is that you're going to have a collection of database of all the people that have committed multiple crimes in that particular area.
Have there been noises to create this database?
What?
Have you ever heard any noises about the government making an effort or the police making an effort to create this database?
I've had situations where I discuss with very senior police officers on this very issue, and they tell you that we are doing something about it. We have a way of trying to make very simple things complicated. Yes, this is a very simple issue. The police does not need much. We could start with a pilot program. Maybe in the major city centers in Nigeria, Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, just name them. And isolate like three police stations and create a database and see how it works. Then we'll do what we call lessons learned. There are definitely going to be some gaps in whatever we're doing. Then we'll try to fill up those gaps from the lessons we've learned. And that's just what I'm saying.
So,
this way.
So tell me, how does the police, first of all, to address the matter of police like just sweeping people off, I was very, very sad when, I went to Badagry prisons, I went to Ikoyi prisons, and I was hearing that many people were saying, actually, it was Badagry predominantly, a prison that is currently accommodating over double its built full capacity. And, most of the people there said, I've just come into Lagos. I didn't have where to sleep. I was sleeping in a vulcanizer's shop or in my bus or at a bus stop. And, police raided and packed us all up. And some of them have been in jail for about 8 months. And, basically there seems to be no hope for them. And many of them are saying, as soon as I come out. So for the ones who have refused to confess to something they didn't do, they keep them there for as long as they can. For the ones who say, yes, I'm a criminal, even if they're not, they usually give them about a month. And usually they're like, I just need money to run back to my village where I came from to look for greener pastures in Lagos. That is crazy. So there's that. Like you mentioned, serious human rights abuse is going on. And I can understand why the police may want to read the streets of homeless people, but surely there's a way that, these people can be looked after beyond taking them to prisons to learn even worse habits or to make them so annoyed that they think, it's a life of crime that I have to pursue. Now, when it comes to this database or preventing crime, how then does the police identify people who have been in trouble before? And, how do they profile criminals who may try to commit, bigger crimes like you would do in the US? You say, okay, we're watching a group of people, we're watching this particular cell of people. They have the tendency to become extremists and all of that. So how then does this happen? Is there any science to the way that we're currently fighting crime?
Yeah. The thing is that.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, now we can hear you again.
Okay, we don't usually initiate conversation to talk about our problems. I cannot imagine a population of over 200 million and we do not have experts that can address this problem.
But you're an expert. You're an expert.
Yeah, no, I'm an expert.
But independent.
Independent and also a student as well. The thing is that when someone is in government, he assumes the monopoly of knowledge. So we do not have the situation where we sit down and discuss some of the problems our institutions are facing. The first thing, like I mentioned earlier, we need a database for the police. The federal government have already initiated NIMSIN, the Nigerian Identity Card Management company or corporation or whatever, which is supposed to create ID cards for us. And the whole idea is multiple. We're supposed to use this ID card for social security issues, bank transactions, as the case may be. But while we're still waiting for this to come to reality, I expect the Nigerian police to initiate their own database. And this is very simple. Instead of the reactive action towards crime, what they are supposed to do is to create a preventive initiative in crime prevention. Do you understand what I'm saying? So presently, if you do not get the strategy right, you can never get results.
Yeah.
If you keep doing the same thing on and on, you will still continue to get the same results.
Yes.
The Nigerian policing system has continued to adopt the policing system we adopted from the colonial masters. We've not changed the recruitment system. We've not changed the policing strategy. Of course, what you and I know, is the police trying to superimpose the authority over the civil populace and all that. I'm not trying to say that we are completely a law-abiding people.
Yeah, so speaking of completely a law, because, we have just a few minutes left, but, and I wanted to, talk. We always want to receive calls from the average, from citizens. And so I want you, before you go, I want you to tell us what we can do to help prevent crime in a minute or two.
Yeah. The first thing I expect the Nigerian police to do, in all honesty, is to decide very concretely we must have a database before...
No, not the Nigerian police, us the people. Us the people.
We the people?
Yes. We the people. What can we do? What can we do? Because Nigerian police, that would take a while. We know that the issues are both technical and attitudinal.
The police is a reflection of what the society is all about.
Yes. So, but what can we do?
Yeah.
Whilst waiting for that bigger government strategy, how can we help? You
are extending the conversation. The people have to also understand their civil rights. That's the first.
And duties.
Education, yes, civil rights and duties. Education have to come into play here. So that we will be able to talk, engage the government into what we need to do. And also start telling the government that we need community policing. I believe that the police is trying to initiate community policing, but they are initiating community policing on a formal base. And that is not the way to go into it. We should initiate community policing in such a way where we are going to harness the authorities, our traditional rulers or traditional authorities wherever they are. Engage them and try to build community resilience so that at every point in time when there is a new person in any community, the information must get towards that traditional authority, and at the same time the traditional authority or whatever we may call it, depending on the concept we want to use, we also transmit such information to the police.
Right.
We have to initiate a community policing strategy that is going to help us to prevent crime.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Mamud, for that, for those clear insights into policing and crime prevention in Nigeria. Thank you for the very useful tips you've given to our listeners.
Pleasure is all mine.
Yes, we hope that you have a fantastic evening, and we'll keep on talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right.
Bye. Good night. So, GCs, dear Nigeria, you've been listening to the Good Citizen Radio Show, and we've been talking about crime control in contemporary Nigeria. You can call in now. It's 0700 923 923 93. Again, it's 0700 923 923 93. We have a caller. Hello.
Hello, good evening, Dr.
Good evening. What's your name, please?
My name is St. Thomas.
Hello, St. Thomas. It's been a while. How's everything?
I'm fine. I was not around.
Oh, right. Welcome back.
Thank you. You see, I really appreciate the man that talked about solutions.
Yes.
I really love that. Security, the crime has to handle it is in our hand and both the government hand. We ourselves, we have to be security conscious. Teach our the children how to be security conscious. There's some things they don't see outside concerning their parents. There are some things
absolutely
also have to cool. Then this database you are selling again. I think if our government can liaise with banks
yes.
and communication companies. I think these ones are the people we see that they are really driving high. So the truth that we can get database so that anybody can get that breaks the crime. In overseas, when people are driving anyhow and they break it, they don't disturb them.
Yes, they don't disturb them at all. We'll just send you a letter or whatever to your house.
If they team up with if the government can team up with the telecommunication company and the banks. Let us take our crime laws very serious. I think that will also help in the long way. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, St. Thomas. St. Thomas has won himself a Domino's pizza. Thank you so much for calling. Hello? Okay, so we lost that call. That was St. Thomas, and he added some very useful tips to the requirement of a database. Truly, the government can rely on, banks and telecoms companies to retrieve that information. But like was done in La Paz in Bolivia, we also have to bring the police force up to speed to be able to use that information. So we lost another call. They have to, you can't put laptops or desktop computers and have policemen who cannot access the information. Hello? We've lost another call. No. Okay, so we can't actually have all of these things. We can't spend all of that money on infrastructure and not have the police force up to speed. So clearly, again, training is critical for our security apparatus. I've had policemen stop me and try to read my documents upside down. They just use echo to see whether, maybe some of them have learned 2019, the year that we're in, to just guess that, is this thing expired? That would not fly. With a knowledgeable citizenry, you cannot have people who are subpar trying to drive the governance that we need. It is important. So some of the things that were said, we need to, the ID cards that the government has reinstituted, national IDs is a great idea. Kudos to the government. So, it works with this whole idea of a database for the police force. And then, at some point, do lessons learned. What have we learned from this? And also, there is the need for us to be proactive, to adopt a preventative approach rather than to be reactive. Government, Nigerian police force, wherever you are, please be listening. and be taking notes and be taking action. You know, we don't just want to keep on talking about the same challenges. I was pleasantly surprised when somebody was paraded as the purported killer. I hope he's the person, truly. And then we need to understand our civil rights and duties. We as Nigerians have a responsibility to report anything that we see. Please stop thinking, I don't want anybody to report me when I do something wrong. It is your responsibility as a citizen. And finally, he says, we need community policing. And when that comes up, it is your duty as well to help this thing work as it should be. And we need to be security conscious. We need to teach our children to be security conscious. That's our discussion on crime in contemporary Nigeria today. And, you know, thank you for St. Thomas. You've won yourself a Domino's Pizza. And I just want to remind us that we still have Domino's Pizza's latest creation, the sweet, smoky, lip-smacking barbecue burst pizza. Just go to www.dominos.ng or any local Domino's Pizza or on social media to find out more. Thank you again to Dr. Mamud for coming. And remember that you can continue this conversation at Good Citizen NG, at Good Citizen NG on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also send me a message at Bekemeo, Bekemeo. Listen to this episode again and catch up on previous episodes on SoundCloud. Just search for The Good Citizen Show. And please fill our survey, goodcitizenng.com/survey. I'm your host, Bekeme. Listen to the show every Friday at 8 p.m. on Inspiration 92.3 FM. Thank you to our partners, ACT Foundation and Domino's Pizza, for making this happen. Have yourselves a great week, and remember that you are Nigeria, and Nigeria will be great again. Bye-bye.